Hey guys, and welcome to the first installment of my Ark Survival playthrough. So since I last played Ark Survival, a ton of things have changed. We got a new map and we got tons of new dinosaurs. So I decided to make my return to the Ark and see how I get on with all of these changes, the new map and everything. So this is the new map, the center, which to be honest, when I first saw it, I mean this used to be on the workshop way before it was officially added. And I looked at it and I didn't see much of it, but then when it's officially added they showed all the details of how big it is, and compared to the other map it's huge. So I decided I'd give it a go because my initial impressions of it is that it's going to be smaller than the official map, or the same size as the official map. And I say official map, I mean the Ark, obviously they're both now official maps. So I decided to give it a go just for a little fresh thing. A fresh change of the pace, so we get a new experience. It's like playing Ark Survival for the first time all over again, because we've got new dinosaurs that we won't recognise, and we got a new map to play on, so we won't know where all the best bases are. I'm gonna have to figure all that out again, which personally was my most exciting thing about playing Ark for the first time. It was finding out all of these dinosaurs, finding out what things is, getting terrified from absolutely everything because you didn't know if it was aggressive or not, and I can go through that again. So this first video is just going to be going through the settings that I'll be using for this playthrough. So on the left we got difficulty. We got difficulty to the maximum so we can get the highest level dinosaurs of 120, unless that's changed. I don't know what's changed. I've not looked at the patch notes since I last played, and since I last played was a good fair few months ago. We didn't have the map, and we didn't have the beaver dinosaur, any of that stuff. That's how I scale, how long I scale it on beaver dinosaurs. So just to clear that up, that's my unit of measure for time, is beaver dinosaurs and maps. So below the difficulty, the voice chat doesn't really affect us. We are going to be playing single player on this playthrough. Proxy chat also doesn't affect us. Tribe downloads, not a thing, and none of this thing really affects us. Player joined, we're going to be the only player joining, so we don't really need to know, but you know, it doesn't make a difference, but I'll turn it off anyway. So allow flyer carry PvE. Again, we don't really, none of this really makes a difference. Hard mode, hardcore mode would make a difference, but I don't feel quite confident enough to play hardcore mode. Maybe as a little playthrough I'll try hardcore mode, see how far we can get in hardcore, but for now I'm going to stick with just the normal stuff. We're not going to do PvE mode, even though again it wouldn't make a difference. There is only going to be the environment to fight. Crosshairs, I'm not going to have the crosshairs because I personally don't like the look of them. I think they're a little bit too big and a little bit too intrusive. And force no HUD, we're not going to have either, because I do like my HUD, I like to know what's going on. And we're going to show map player location so that when we look on the map we can see where we are on the map. I'm tempted to turn that off actually, because it's a new map, because then it might give me a little bit of a discovery thing. Oh, actually no, it doesn't, because it removes the fog on the map, so it wouldn't actually change anything. So yeah, I'm going to keep that on so I know where I am on the map that I'm looking at. PvP gamma, I'm not sure what PvP gamma actually is, but I'll keep that as it is. I'm assuming that's something like if PvP is enabled you can't change your gamma settings or something like that, because gamma obviously makes it really bright and really easy. Okay, so the structure range we're going to keep at 6000, that doesn't really need to be changed. And the day speed cycle we've got lower than 1.0. And what that's going to do is that the whole day is going to be slower as well. The whole day and night is going to be slower. And then the day speed itself, so just for the time of the day, is going to be less as well. And night speed is going to be the default 1.0. So what that's going to do for us is daytime is going to last longer, nighttime is going to last shorter, because unless they've changed anything since I last played, there's no way of sleeping through the night, so the nighttime gets a little bit tedious, especially for a YouTube video, because you can't see much going on. You can't really get any building done, you can't really get any exploring done because it's so pitch black. So I'm just going to make that shorter. I mean, I could go extreme and crank it all the way up, but that would be a little bit silly because then it'd just be a flash of night. But I mean, we could do dino damage, player damage, and structure damage. We're going to keep at the default. I don't want to tweak any of that. I want to keep this as vanilla as possible with a slight change, a few slight changes like the day speed and the resistance for player, dino, and structure is also going to be the same. XP multiplier, I was tempted to crank up to maybe ×2, possibly even ×3, but I decided to keep it at ×1 because I'm one of those where leveling up and receiving new things is what keeps me interested in a game. It's what keeps me going, but so having it at 1.0, it's going to make it last a little bit longer. It's going to drag out those rewards, and it's going to make it a little bit more rewarding. However, depending on how tedious it is, because obviously we're going to be playing single player, this game is really designed for multiplayer. Even though you can play single player, it is very much a multiplayer focused game, and a lot of the things are sort of expecting you to get one player to do one thing and another player to do another thing. So maybe one player gathers and the other player builds. So the XP multiplier, well, ×1 when you've got multiple people, isn't a big deal because you can spread out your engrams unlocked to different things, so you can plan that out and essentially work together as a team. So we might increase that depending how tedious it is to get started, but I think once we get started it wouldn't make much difference anyway, because you end up getting a bunch of upgrades that you don't actually need. They're just sort of gimmicky stuff. So taming speed I've cranked up to 2 times because some of the taming does get extremely tedious. Some of them get it to ridiculous amounts of hours. We're talking like 20 hours, 24 hours for one tame. And again, on a multiplayer server, having that at ×1 isn't as big of a deal because you can sort of spread out the workload. So you can maybe watch the dinosaur for 3 hours or however long you're dedicated to it, and then you could go off and someone else could take over and they can watch the dinosaur for you while you're away and just spread out that workload so it's not as tedious. But obviously with single player, it's going to be me watching that dinosaur for 24 hours. I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing 12 hours either, but at least 12 hours is a lot shorter than 24 hours. The harvest amount we've got at the default, and the player water drain, food drain, and the dino food drain is all going to be default. If you change the dino food drain, when they have a baby, it becomes extremely difficult to keep them fed because babies eat a hell of a lot of food. So I'm not going to tweak with the dino food drain. I've been there, I've done that, I've made that mistake. It's a horrible mistake. Never do it. The stamina drain for the character and the dino is also going to be the same. I'm not going to tweak any of that stuff because it feels a little bit cheaty, to be honest. And same with the health recovery for the player and the dino. And the harvest health, we're going to keep it the same. I believe they have actually changed the harvest anyway, so I think they do now have more health than what I used to play. I think it used to be sort of two or three grabs at it and it would be dead, and I think they've increased that. It takes a bit longer now, I believe. I remember seeing that somewhere on the patch notes. Structure decay period is also going to be the same, and I could actually disable structure decay now that I think about it, because that gets a little bit tedious. I have tried disabling it before and it didn't actually disable it, so I'm not sure what the structure decay necessarily is. I assumed it was when the health of structures just gradually went down over time, but last time I tried to disable that it stayed like that, so I'm not entirely sure what that is. But that is the settings that we're going to be using for our Ark Survival playthrough, single player playthrough, which It's going to be a new experience for me, and as well as a new map. I've never played single player before, and I've never played this map before, so it's all completely new to me. And to top it off, we've also got new dinosaurs to explore. I'm not going to look on the wiki or any of that stuff, because that ruins the surprise of finding out if it's aggressive, if it's going to run at me. I like that feeling of sort of just creeping up to it and seeing if it bites my head off. So I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos, future Ark Survival videos, and stay tuned and subscribe if you would like to see this series excel, and if you would like to see my head get bit off by giant dinosaurs.